Okay, guys. So last time last time we went through unit number 8, part 1, right? And this is what we talked about. In unit number 1, in the first part, we spoke about articles. So we spoke about the definite and the indefinite article, and also like when to use the definite article, when to use the indefinite article, and when to use no article, right? So that's what we did last time. Also, we spoke about quantifiers. Now, quantifiers, as I explained, are words that describe quantity. Also, I told you that they were words like lots of, a lot of, plenty of, a few of, no, all, many, much, some, any, well, so on and so forth. And we spoke about them, and like we also learn how to use them, like when they are like some of them are used only for countable nouns, some others are only used for uncountable nouns, and some others are used with both, right? Countable and uncountable nouns. So this is what we did last time, and today we're going to work on this part right here, relative clause, right? So the relative clauses itself, before starting, I remember that the first or the second class that we had, guys, we spoke about this and I explained this to you, like what the relative clauses were and also relative pronouns were. But well, let's see if you remember. So before we start with the explanation of today's class, I'd like you guys to answer whether you know what relative classes are or not. So guys, do you know what relative classes are? Is there anything you can say about a relative class? So what's that? What is a relative class? An idea? No idea? You remember? You don't remember? This is something you must know because actually I explained this to you at the beginning of the course, and you were taught this last level, in third level. You were taught this. So,
Mister,
yeah,
when we put two sentences in one sentence, we use relative pronouns like who, what, where, and which.
all right, great, right? So relative clauses are just like the combination of two sentences put together. Good. That's a relative clause, miss. Thank you very much. But well, before going on relative classes and speaking about the types and all of this, we need to know what are the relative pronouns and how to use relative pronouns, right? Because I know maybe some of you just don't remember how to use them or the real use of them, or maybe you're still um, experiencing some problems when you have to use them. So the idea is like this topic today is completely clear, like for relative clauses and relative pronouns. So before going to the topic itself, to today's topic, we are going to cover another one that is like the review on how to use relative pronouns, right? So Miss Madeline, very good. It was great. And well, let's go down to it. Let me see. Please let me know if you can see the slide presentation, the PowerPoint presentation. Can you see it?
Yes.
All right. So as you can see on the image, I got a question for you. The question is, what qualities make good friends? Do you have an idea? Think about it, guys. Take a look at these two people. These two little boys here. They seem to be walking very happily. through this street, right? Through this path. And well, take a look, they're hugging to each other. So they seem to be good friends. And what qualities do you think a good friend must have, right? So what qualities make good friends for you? Go ahead and answer this question. What qualities make good friends?
Mr. Honesty,
Honesty, yeah. What else?
transparency,
Transparency, good. What else?
Mister, I want
Go ahead.
a good friend is a person who is friendly, kind, and and good.
Friendly, kind, a good person itself. All right. Any other one would like to say something about making good friends?
Mr.
Me.
Yes, miss?
It has to be a good listener
A good listener, good.
and supportive
Supportive.
and also trustworthy.
Oh, trustworthy, great. Now, when we speak about qualities that make good friends, I mean, there are a lot of qualities that we would like our friends, well, that we would like that our friends had, right? So these are the 4 qualities that I decided to, to write for today or to work on today. Here they are. So they must be fun, right? I can depend on them, which is like, it's a person who I can really rely on, maybe when I need something. They need to be trustworthy, right? Just like this. I like to have someone who I can trust. Um, and of course, honesty, right? So they gotta be honest. They've got to be honest. So, um, having these 4 qualities, so these are the qualities that we're going to be working for the relative clauses and the relative pronouns, right? So let's continue. As you can see right here, when we speak about relative pronouns, we normally speak about these 3 that we got right here. Who, that, and which. We use who to speak about people, that to speak about people too, and things at the same time, and which to speak about things only. Now, when we speak about people and things, like we use who when we want to be more formal, and we use that for normal situations. The same thing happens with which when you refer to things, right? So if you want to be formal, if you want to, yeah, to express a formal thing, you can use which. But if you just want to be normal, again, without using so much formality, then you use that, right? So relative pronouns normally are all right, let's do this here. Hang on. So all the relative pronouns, these are not all relative pronouns we have. Actually, we have so many others, and we have stuff like what? Can you give me another? Where? When?
When.
When? What else?
Why.
Why? Great.
Whose?
Which one? Don't mention the ones that we have right here, right? Not who, not that, not which. All right, let's write
This is
who.
the other one, the one that is like who. Whose?
Oh, you mean whose? All right, whose. I'm sorry, right? I thought that you were saying who. So whose, right?
Whom.
All right, we can write this down here, but I'm going to do it like this better, right? Hang on. This, and who, right? Good. What else? We can also say how. And let's write, okay, let's hang on. Before how, let's write which, now that we have already used who. So which, then we say how, and finally that, right? Now, as you can see right here, hang on, I'm sorry, here. As you can see right here, right? What are relative pronouns? Relative pronouns are, so let's write it down. I'm going to write it down here. So RP, I'm going to call them RP, right? Relative pronouns. R, O, W, H, question words, right? That's the right words normally. Are WH question words. So those are the relative pronouns. The relative pronouns are all WH question words. As you can see right here in this example, we have what, where, when, why, whose, whom, who, which, how, and then we got that. It's not a WH question word. It's like I would say like the exception of this rule. But normally the relative pronouns are all WH question words, and we use them for different things. Now here I have already told you that who, we use it for people, that for people and things, and which for objects or things too, right? But what do we use what for? Can you tell me what we use what for? Oh, I already wrote it, sorry. General things, to speak about general things, right? But what do we use where for?
For a place, for a space.
We're talking about place or places, right? How about when? What do we use when for in a relative clause?
About time.
All right, got it. You got time. How about why?
A reasons, explanation.
Reason, right? That's the one. Reason, great. Whose? What do we use whose for?
Person.
Well, we speak about whose, yes. We're going to speak about people, but basically before talking about possession, right? When you have and you possess something. How about who and whom? Then we speak about
Person. Or people.
Great. Which things? Let's say
More
things.
specific.
No, only things, right? Only things. How? What do we use how for?
Teacher, I was thinking that what is general and which is more specific. I don't know.
Which is more specific. I mean, when we use which, we normally speak about things, right? We refer to something. But when we use what, we may refer to something, but we may be closer to the situation itself, to the whole situation. I mean, we speak about it in general. Like, for example, I like what you're saying. I like what you are saying, right? Take a look at here. I'm going to, hang on. No. All right. I'm going to write it down here. I like what you are saying. All right. Now take a look at here. When I say what you are saying, what am I referring to exactly? Like, it looks like I'm referring to the general situation. So that's what I use what for. All right. Now in Spanish, means, who can tell me the meaning in Spanish of this?
Lo que tú
Lo
estás
que.
diciendo.
Yes, in this case it
Lo
would be lo que, right? It's for a general thing. In the case of which we use it to talk about objects and things, right? We use it to talk. Can we use it for situations? Well, maybe we can use it for situations in a very formal way, right? But I would say that it's not really common. And how about how? What do we use how for? Well, I'm gonna write it down here. For talking about states, right? So like, I want to know how you are, right? Or it's great to know how to cook, right? It's great to know how you cook, I mean, step like this. We use the first state. Now, as you can see again, mostly all of them, they are relative pronouns, but sometimes they take different names depending on if it's for place, if it's for time, if it's for reason, they take different names, but at the end, they are all relative pronouns, right? Relative pronouns. But we are going to be talking or using these three right here: who, that, and which. So let's continue, guys. So what is a clause? Now, Miss Montagut, she said that a clause is a sentence with this, it's like a combination of two sentences, and that's great. Normally a clause, we can say that it's just a normal sentence that has a subject and a verb, right? Like for example here, I can say that this is a clause. I like friends. It has a subject and it has a verb, right? Same here. They are honest. Subject and verb, right? So that's a clause like normal sentences that have objects and verbs. That's it. That is it, right? But when we speak about a relative clause, that is what we are going to be speaking about today, then we speak about the combination of two different sentences put together into one to create a compound a compound sentence, only one, with a connector that is going to be a relative pronoun. So who, that, and which, and the other ones that I wrote up here are going to be the ones that are going to work as connectors to put these two sentences together and to create a relative clause, right? So as you can see right here, we got two different sentences, right? One, I like friends, period, that's the first sentence, and they are honest, period, the second sentence, right? Two different and separated sentences. Now, guys, if I want to put these two sentences together as one, how can I do it?
You have to use a relative pronoun.
All right, and how would it, and how would be like these two sentences put together by using a relative pronoun? So put it together and give me the answer.
I like friends who are honest.
Who are honest.
All right, I like friends who
Who
are
are honest.
great, right? I like friends who are honest. That's great. Now, what happens here? They, as they are two different, take a look here, we have like friends, sentence number one, and they are honest, sentence number two. Now here, what I did is that I just replaced this subject by a relative pronoun, right? I replaced it by a relative pronoun. Here in the first sentence, they refers to friends.
Pronoun.
And here, who, now that is connected, is also referring to friends, right? But we cannot use the normal pronoun because otherwise it wouldn't have any sense. Like, I like friends, they are honest. It would be like weird. But so that it can make sense, then we have to use relative pronouns. In this case, we're speaking about people because friends are people, so we are using who for these sort of things, right? So yeah, that's great. We have another example here. Take a look, two more sentences. I prefer friends, sentence number one, and they are fun, sentence number two. So how can you guys put these two sentences together? Put it together, please.
I prefer friends who are fun.
I prefer friends who are fun, or I prefer friends that are fun, right? Now in this case, I used that because you know that we can use both, either that or who. Who, when you use it, is when you want to be more formal, and that is just like less formal, right? Like normal itself. So here, again, the same thing happens. They refers to friends, but in the relative clause, we don't need like the pronoun itself because it might be a little weird. So we use that, and in this case, is the relative pronoun, and it's like working as the connector of these two sentences, and is also referring to friends. Now take a look. Are fond and prefer friends. That is like right in the middle and is connecting the two sentences. Same thing here. I like friends, first sentence. Who are honest, like who is in the middle connecting the two sentences, right? Now, something that you gotta take into account here is that we have two type of relative pronouns or two uses of relative pronouns when we speak about who, that, and which. When we speak about them, we need to be careful whenever we want to use them as subjects or as objects. Remember that its object is just either the person or the thing that performs an action, that does an action, right? So like in this example here, who are, take a look, who is working as? They. Is just replacing it, but it still means the same, right? It has the same intention of they, even though it means in Spanish, quien, right? The intention is still the same, like they, because it's referring to friends. Same thing happens here with that, right? They is the same than that, like in intention, and that is referring to friends as well. And they are both used as subjects, right? Because they are the subjects of this sentence. Now, when I say I like friends who are honest, what is the subject of this sentence? I like friends. Who is the person, or who is the person who is honest? Me or the friends?
The friends.
Yes, right? The friends. So who is performing the action of being honest? The friends, not me. So who is working as a subject here? Same thing here. I prefer friends that are fine. So who are fine? The friends or me? Again,
Friends.
the friends. Me, it doesn't have anything to do with me because in this case, the people that perform the action of being fun are they, right? The friends. So this is the subject one. Another way of identifying the subject version is when you guys have the relative clause and right after, sorry, when you have the relative pronoun and right after the relative pronoun, you use a verb, right? If you have the combination relative pronoun and verb, then this is a subject relative clause, right? Like here, take a look, that are, relative pronoun, and immediately the verb. Who are, relative pronoun, and immediately the verb, right? So for this other reason, I can say that these are subject relative clauses. Now, let's move on. Is it clear so far?
Yes, Mr.
All right, let's get to move there. Now, those were relative pronouns as objects, and now let's work with them as objects, right? The first one were subjects, sorry, and these are objects. Now let's take a look at these two sentences right here. I like the type of friends. I can trust them. Now, different from the previous, from the previous sentence, here I have a subject and also I have an object. Remember that the object is the person or the thing or the people or the things that receive the action performed by the subject, right? Don't forget this. And as you can see right here, the first sentence, let's go back a little, just for a second. In the first sentence, everything stays the same, like I like friends, I prefer friends, I prefer friends. Where we start making like changes is in the second sentence, right? Like the second part, in the relative clause itself is where we can make some changes. Something happens here, right? The same thing happens here. So I like the type of friends, I can trust them. Can you guys try to put these two sentences together now that we have an object? By using...
I like the type.
Yeah.
I like the type of friends what I can trust. I don't know
Again. I like the type of friends.
what I can trust.
All right. Why what?
What?
Why what? Now, what are we speaking about here? What are we referring to here?
Friends.
Friends, right? And our friends, what? What are friends?
People.
They are people, right? So what is supposed to be in between here, like to connect them?
Who.
Who or
Who.
that, right? So I like the type of friends. What? Continue. I like the type of friends
Who can trust them.
who
Or
can.
trust them.
All right, listen to yourself. I like the type of friends who can trust them. Who can trust them? Listen to yourself and try to, why not translate that into Spanish? Yes, Miss, what do you want to say?
Who I can trust them.
Who I can trust them. All right, that's another version and maybe a better one because you are using this here, right? Good, who I can trust them. Let me show you the right answers so you can see. Now, what happens here? If you say what you said, Miss, like, I like the type of friends who I can trust them. As you can see here, I'm not using it, right? If you use them here and like in the United version, it's like you were being redundant because you are repeating the same twice, right? 2 times. Let's say this, let's try to translate it into Spanish. Me gusta el tipo de amigos, perdón. Me gusta el tipo de amigos en quienes puedo confiar en ellos. ¿Está eso bien dicho?
No.
¿Qué sucede en español cuando yo digo eso? Me gusta el tipo de amigos en...
Está como repitiendo lo mismo 2 veces.
Exacto, estoy hablando de amigos y luego estoy hablando de ellos. Y ellos ya sé que son ¿quién? Los amigos, right? Entonces estoy siendo redundante, estoy repitiendo la información. So, cuando tenemos esta clase de oraciones, ¿qué sucede? Ahora, el pronombre relativo no va a ir dirigido al sujeto. Por eso cuando, creo que fue Miss María, cuando dijo, who can trust them, se volvió el sujeto, pues aquí yo no estoy reemplazando el sujeto, porque I, ¿a quién se refiere? ¿A friends? No, ¿cierto?
No.
De hecho, friends es quien recibe la acción hecha por mí, de confiar. Así que, ¿qué es entonces ellos o los amigos? Son
Them.
el objeto, them. So, who, right here. Por lo tanto, who en esta oración va a ser un objeto, en otras palabras, quien recibe la oración que yo hago, digo, quien recibe la acción que yo hago, que es la acción de confiar, right? So, me gustan los amigos en quienes puedo confiar. I like the type of friends who I can trust, right? Now, let's go to the second example here. I want friends I can depend on them. Who can put it together? Put them together, sorry.
I want friends who I can depend on.
Right, great. Who said that? Sorry, I didn't see.
Nayeli.
All right, thank you, Miss Nayeli. Miss Nayeli, that was beautiful. Excellent, to be honest. I want friends that I can depend on. Now, why not them here? Because again, it's redundant, right? If I use them right here, I mean, it's redundant because I am already using that to be here, them is being replaced by that. And what is that referring to? To me or to friends?
Friends.
Yeah, to friends, not to me at all, right? Why not to me? Because I am the person, I am the subject, right? And friends is, in this case, and friends are the object that are receiving the action made by me. In this case, the action of depending on something or on somebody, right? So those are the 2 types of relative pronouns that we have, the subject one and the object one. A different way of identifying or recognizing the object one is the following. Remember that in the subject one, I said that if you have who or that, and right after who and that, you have a verb, that is a subject one. I mean, that is a subject, right? But in this case, when you have who or that, and after who and that, you have a subject, not only I, it can be any subject, a name, whatever, right? Not exactly the verb, but a subject first or before the verb, a subject, then this is an object relative clause. Is that clear? Like how to identify it and how to use them? Or do you still have a question? I mean, any question about this?
It's clear, teacher.
Clear. All right, that's great. That's great. All right, so as I was saying before, then this is what we do here, right? So in this kind of sentences, like the other way of recognize them, or the other way of yeah, actually recognize them, is that you, I mean, after who, the following word that comes is going to be a subject, right? If it's a subject, then you know that is, I'm sorry, yes, if it's a subject, you know that the relative pronouns are going to be objects, right? Now, in this, well, there's something that I'm pretty sure you can see from here, and is that down here we have the word optional, right? Optional. What does it mean? It means that you can, when you have this kind of relative clauses with object only, you cannot use this with a subject. With a subject, you need to use who, that, or which obligatorily, but with who and that, working as objects, which do working as objects, you can decide if using it or not using it. That depends on you. That's why I say that it's optional. Yes, that's why you can see that is like the relative pronoun who and that are in between parentheses, right? So you can say too, you can say I like the type of friends who I can trust. And if you omit it, you can also say it, I like the type of friends I can trust. I like the type of friends I can trust. Am I using who? No, I'm not, right? But it doesn't mean that is incorrect. Honestly, if you omit it, it's more natural than using it. If you use it, it's more like formal, right? Same thing happens here. You can say, I want friends that I can depend on. Or if you omit it, you can also say, I want friends I can depend on. The idea is the same. Everything stays the same. The only thing that I'm doing is that I am omitting the the relative pronoun. Yeah, I am omitting the relative pronoun. That's all I'm doing, right? But it's still the same. It's more natural. And honestly, people use it more, especially because they want to sound more fluent, right? And this helps you with fluency. So when you're talking, you need to and you use the relative pronouns, and sometimes you need to emphasize on the relative pronouns. But here, when you just want to drop them and not use them or omitting or leaving them off, then you can just go ahead and do it, and you're going to sound more natural and fluent, right? As if you were good at the language. So that's the impression that you are going to give you if you know how to omit them. And I repeat again, the only way you can omit the relative pronouns is when you have this kind of relative clauses. Object relative clauses. Can you do that here? No, that's impossible to do it here. Here is completely obligatory to use who, to use that. Why? Because here they are subjects, and you know that in English, if we don't have a subject, then the rest of the sentence makes no sense. We need to know who is doing the action, right? So that's why here they need to be obligatorily used. But here, as they are not the subject of the sentence, they are the object, you can go ahead and omit it if you want to. So you have two options, again, I repeat. You can either use them or not using them. Depends completely on you. Now, something else that you gotta take into account here in the case of this second one are those verbs, that always go with a preposition. As you can see right here, I say depend on, right? Depend on. Before we continue with the explanation, I'm going to ask you a question in Spanish. ¿Saben ustedes, chicos, por qué en inglés solemos hacer esto? Como terminamos con una preposición cuando tenemos esta clase de oraciones. ¿Por qué la preposición queda aquí en este lugar? Guys.
Profe, yo creo que, o sea, que ya con eso es suficiente, no sé. Es suficiente a veces no tener que nombrar de nuevo de lo que se está hablando, ya. Sino que con la preposición, después de haberlo nombrado, es suficiente, no sé.
Y eso es una manera de verlo. No está mal, Miss, right? Sin embargo, no es la razón como tal. Primero, analicemos la oración en español. ¿Ok? Voy a escribirla justo acá debajo. So, dice, yo quiero amigos. Well, so far, I'm going to try to do just like this. Okay, that is fine. Yo quiero amigos. Hang on. Okay. Yo no, esta sería la traducción literal, ¿cierto? En español estaría bastante rarísimo, ¿no? Yo quiero amigos que puedo depender en. Suena raro, ¿cierto? ¿Qué pasa en español? Sucede que el español es algo, bueno, yo diría algo ilógico. ¿Por qué? Porque el español también usa verbos con preposiciones. Bueno, todos los idiomas, pero estamos hablando solamente de inglés y español. En el caso de español, hay verbos que van siempre con preposiciones y normalmente las preposiciones siempre van después de los verbos, ya que ellas simplemente nos ayudan a tener un complemento como tal, ¿cierto? Ese es el uso de las preposiciones. Ahora, ¿puedo yo decir, por ejemplo, yo te dependo? ¿Eso está bien dicho?
No, debería decirse, yo dependo de ti.
Yo dependo de ti. Miren que en español te obliga a usar una preposición, ¿cierto? Yo dependo de, right? Puede usar, en este caso estamos usando en, right? Pero yo dependo de, ¿cómo se dice depender de en inglés? So, we say depend on, right? Pero ¿qué pasa? Si se dan cuenta, la preposición tiene que ir junto al verbo para poder tener un sentido, para que el verbo pueda tener sentido. Pero en español, cuando usamos este tipo de cláusulas relativas, objeto, lo que hace es que la preposición la cambia de lugar, la mueve del lado de el verbo y la pone justo detrás de el pronombre relativo. Ahora, ¿tiene sentido en una oración? Yo quiero amigos en los cuales o en los que yo puedo depender, right? Ahora oración sí tiene sentido. ¿Por qué? Porque de alguna razón, bueno, aquí dividimos la preposición del verbo y la traímos en la parte de atrás o antes del pronombre relativo. Bueno, esto es lo que sucede en español. In English is more logic, right? So I just told you that the rule, the general rule is that there are some verbs that are always accompanied by a preposition, and they cannot be separated, because if you separate them, what happens? It won't make sense, right? What you say won't make sense. You need to put the preposition alongside the verb, right? Now, something else that you gotta, so for this reason, English says, well, if the verb goes alongside the preposition, they are always going together, so I am not going to divide them for no reason, and I'm going to put them all the time together. They are going to stay together. And this is what happens here, right? So I want friends that I can depend on. Here the preposition still stays alongside the word depend, right? It's not going anywhere, right? It's not going anywhere. Why? Because their normal place of the preposition is alongside the verb, right? Thing that doesn't happen in Spanish. So in English, we always put the preposition together with the verb. So that's why we got like the impression, or we think that, like, we Spanish speakers, that they put the preposition at the end of the sentence. Exactly, I mean, the preposition is not at the end of the sentence. It's just together with the verb. Sometimes it looks like it's at the end, just like here, right? I want friends that I can depend on. Looks like it's at the end, but it's not at the end, right? So there are other types of verbs that, I mean, they don't have any sort of prepositions like the one we have right here. Trust. In English, you know, what is the meaning of trust, guys, by the way? Can you tell me? What is the meaning of trust?
Confiar.
All right. In Spanish, confiar normalmente usa una preposición. Yo digo confiar en ti, right? Yo confío en ti. Es decir, el verbo confiar va unido con la preposición en. But in English, we don't say, I trust in you. I mean, that is incorrect, right? Because the verb trust can go along, right? With no preposition. So that's why in this sentence, I mean, the sentences are the same, these two, right? But what is the difference? That the verb trust doesn't have a preposition, and the verb depend does have a preposition, right? So that's the only difference right here. If the word trust had a preposition, then the preposition, where would be the preposition? Here or here? Imagine, guys, let's pretend that the verb trust can use a preposition. Where would be the preposition? Next to trust or next to who?
To trust.
Yeah, to
Yeah,
trust.
next to trust.
Because trust is the verb, right? And in English, this is respected. So guys, please try not to confuse this part. It's a little difficult sometimes, especially for us, Spanish speakers, because we are more like so used to our language and we want to like translate or use the syntax from Spanish in the one in English, right? And it doesn't work like this, especially in this sort of relative clauses right here in this sort of sentences. So now you know why we use the preposition on at the end, and I'm going to show you more examples later on. So let's continue then. Let's move on, guys. Let me hang on. There it is. All right. So something that you must always take into account. So don't repeat the subject or the object in the relative clause, right? Now, what is the relative clause, or how can I know that these are relative clauses? The relative clause is normally, you can normally identify it or recognize it when, the beginning of the relative clause is always going to be the relative pronoun till the end, right? So here I like friends who are honest. All of this is the relative clause? No. The relative clause is only who are honest, right? Here the relative clause is that are fun. So the relative clause begin from the relative pronoun then till the end of that sentence, all right? So in this case, what is the relative clause? Who I can trust. And here, that I can
That I
depend on.
can depend on.
Yes, those are the relative clauses, right? Now, here we have the following. I like friends who they are sincere. Is this correct, guys? Now take a look. It says no, right? No.
No.
But why not?
Because you have to say because you have to say only one word.
Yeah,
Who.
exactly. Here you have two subjects, and it's like you are repeating the same thing, right? So it's redundant. Me gustan los amigos quienes ellos sean sinceros. I mean, it makes no sense if I do it like that, because who is also referring to, it's also referring, I mean, it's already replacing they. And who is referring to friends. So this part is incorrect. And here, what or where is the relative clause? What is the relative clause? Who are
sincere.
good, who are sincere, right? And what type of clause, of relative clause is this one? Subject or object?
Subject.
This is subject, right? Because we are speaking about, in this case, who is right after a verb, next to the verb. Thank you, Miss. Now we have this example here. The same happens. Do not repeat the subject or object. In this case, an object. I like friends that I can go out with them. Can you try to translate this into Spanish to see what the weird thing is?
Me gustan los amigos con los que yo pueda salir con ellos.
¿Está bien? ¿En español eso? Suena
No.
raro, ¿cierto?
Sí.
Nuevamente estamos siendo redundantes porque estamos repitiendo el objeto. Amigos, ¿quién y ellos? Que se refiere a lo mismo, right? So, ¿cómo es la manera correcta de decirlo, chicos?
I like friends that I can go out with.
Again, right? And the preposition seems to be at the end, and we already know why, because
Yes.
go with or go out with is just next to or stays together with its verb, right? So yes, we don't need to like repeat them because that is already referring to friends right here. And let me ask you one more time. Where or what is the relative clause?
That I can go out with.
All right, that I can go out with. Good. What type of relative clause is this one? Object or subject?
Object.
Great, right? Very, very good. Why is it object?
Because the object is next to the subject.
Great, right? In this case, the relative pronoun is next to the subject. Very good, miss. Now, let's give you more things that you should remember. This one more time is the preposition. So let's try to work a little bit, like give you more examples with the prepositions. So take a look. Remember to use the prepositions if needed. Why if needed? Because if you don't use the preposition, guys, what happens? Your sentence is not going to make sense. All right? Because the verb, if you drop the preposition, then there is going to be something that is missing, and when you speak to someone, the person might not understand your idea because something is missing, right? Now, there you go right here. I want a friend, I can talk to him easily. Now, remember that I told you that the preposition is not at the end of the sentence. Sometimes that's what it looks like, right? But that's normally because we don't have more complement, right? We don't have more complement. But when we have more complement, you're going to see that that the preposition is not going to be at the end. So this is the perfect example. Guys, can you tell me or try to put these two sentences together?
I want a friend who I can talk to easily.
Very good, miss. That's excellent. I want a friend who I can talk to easily. Now take a look. Is to the preposition at the end of the sentence?
No.
No, right? So to is just next to the verb, as it must be all the time, right? Here we had more complement, so that's why the complement continues, right? But the verb stays with its preposition. Very good, miss. Very good. So the preposition is here, talk to. Great. Now we have two more sentences. I'd like to meet a friend. I have fun with her. Who can put these two together?
Like to meet a friend who I have fun with.
Very good, miss. Excellent. I'd like to meet a friend who I have or that I have fun with. Why not her? Because we already explained it, right? Si lo usamos here acá sería redundante porque ya estamos usando that, ¿cierto? So, very good. And again, what happens with the preposition? The preposition is, again, next to the verb. In this case, the verb is have fun, que significa divertirse. So have fun with, here it is, the verb is alongside its preposition. Now, we have another example down here. And the last one is nice to have friends. You can buy presents for them. Who can put these two sentences together?
It's nice to have friends that you can buy presents for.
That was very much beautiful and excellent, miss. Great. It's nice to have friends who you can who you can buy presents for. Good. Again, not them, because them is already replaced by who, and who refers to friends. And the preposition is where?
Teacher, that is correct too.
Which one?
And the last one, I said that it's nice to have friends that you can buy presents for.
Yeah, that's good. What happens here? You buy the presents for whom? For a person, right? So the preposition or the thing is, the combination is buy for. Buy something for, right? So take a look. Sé que les acabo de decir acá que si tenemos más complementos, pues la preposición no va al final. Aquí pareciera que va fuera al final, ¿cierto? Porque tenemos un complemento extra. Present. Creo que eso es lo que estás intentando decir, Miss.
No, es que aquí ya dice who y yo dije that.
Oh, no. I mean, it's correct. Remember that you can use who or that interchangeably. The only difference is that who is more formal and that is less formal. But Miss, you can use the one you like. You can even omit it. Remember, you can say, I want a friend I can talk to easily. I like to meet a friend I can have fun with. Or it's nice to have friends you can buy presents for, right?
Okay, Mr.
So you can use them. I mean, you can use who, you can use that. And you just, if you don't want to use any, you just don't use any. All right. So is this clear, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's great. So let's then, now that you know how to use like the, you know, like the relative pronouns in the right way when they are subject and when they are objects, right? So let's move to today's topic itself, that is relative clauses. So let me show you and let me know if you see the other PowerPoint presentation. Can you see the PowerPoint presentation, the new one?
Yes.
The one that says, here we have Mike and Monica. Can you see that one?
Yes.
All right, great. So now we are going to work on, I mean, we were working on relative pronouns, right? But now we're going to speak about relative clauses. Like we are going to go deeper. We were speaking about the general thing, but now we're going to speak about like speak about it in detail, right? Like the clauses itself. We are not going to speak about the whole thing or the two sentences and the way to put them together, but we are going to speak about only the clause, right? The relative clause and the types of relative clause that we have. So take a look at here in the picture. We have two people. We have a woman and a man. They are Mike and Monica. Mike is having a party at his apartment. Monica and Mike are good friends from when they were young, but haven't seen each other for a while. Monica doesn't know some of the people at the party, so she is asking Mike about some of them, right? So they are going to have a conversation about these things that I just read, right? They are going to have a conversation, and you are going to be able to see, and to watch and listen to this conversation at the same time, because it's going to be a video. All right, so guys, please be attentive, analyze it, and then I'm going to ask you some questions at the end. All right, so let me see if you can just give me a second, guys. Please let me know if you can listen to the video. All right.
Okay, so here we have Mike and Monica.
Can you listen to it?
Yes.
All right, so I repeat again. Listen to listen and watch the video. Listen to the video and watch the video, guys. And then at the end, we are going to review the relative classes and the types and all of this. All right. So there you go.
Mike is having a party at his apartment. So Monica and Mike are good friends from when they were young, but haven't seen each other for a while. Monica doesn't know some of the people at the party, so she's asking Mike about some of them. So let's listen to the conversation that they have about the different people at the party.
Hey, this is a great party, Mike. Thanks so much for inviting me.
Yeah, no worries, Monica. I'm just glad you could make it. It's been a long time since I saw you last.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I don't recognize many of your friends anymore.
Really? Like who?
For example, I don't think I've ever seen that guy over there.
Which guy? Are you talking about the guy that is in the yellow shirt?
Who, John? No, I know who he is. Remember, he used to date my roommate, who I hated in college.
Oh yeah, that's right. I almost forgot that they went out for a little while.
I'm talking about the guy who was dancing with that girl over there.
Oh, Peter. Yeah, he's my new coworker that I was telling you about.
Oh, okay. He's the guy that you share an office with, right?
Yeah, that's him. And so Peter, who loves to dance obviously, is dating the girl in the green sweater.
Ah, okay. Who's that other girl?
You mean the girl who Peter's dancing with? That's my cousin Ashley.
No, not her. I met Ashley at your brother's wedding last year, remember? No, I'm talking about the girl who was standing alone by the window.
Oh, her. That's Kim. She's Ashley's friend that's studying abroad right now. She's from Korea.
Really? Maybe I should go talk to her. I wonder if I remember my Korean from when I lived there.
That's right, you should. Because I'm pretty sure that she's from Seoul, which is the place where you lived, right?
Oh, cool. What a coincidence. I'm going to go talk to her right now.
All right. So there was a conversation between they two guys. So I'm going to repeat the conversation, but this time I'm going to repeat the video. But this time I'm going to pause the video when we can see where there is a relative clause, right? And you're going to tell me where it is, what type it is, if it's subject, if it's object, and stuff like this. Then we continue with the same sort of exercise that we were doing before. So there you go.
Okay. Ready at his
Mike, thank
All right.
Hey,
That's it.
this is a great party, Mike. Thanks so much for inviting me.
Yeah, no worries, Monica. I'm just glad you could make it. It's been a long time since I saw you last.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I don't recognize many of your friends anymore.
Really? Like who?
For example, I don't think I've ever seen that guy over there.
Which guy? Are you talking?
All right, we got the first right here. Which guy? Are you talking about the guy in the show in the yellow shirt? Are you talking about the guy that is in the yellow shirt? Now, what is the relative clause?
That is in the yellow shirt.
Right, great. And is this a subject or an object relative clause?
Subject.
All right, very good. Subject. Let's continue.
About the guy that is in the yellow shirt?
Hey, what's up? Oh, my fault, guys.
Okay.
There. College.
Oh yeah.
All right, so who, John? No, I know who he is. Remember, he used to date my roommate who I hated in college. Now, what is the relative clause?
Who I hated in college.
Great. And is this subject or object pronoun? I mean,
Object.
object. Very good, guys. Very good. Let's continue.
Yeah, that's right. I almost forgot that they went out for a little while.
I'm talking about the guy who was dancing with that girl over there.
All right, here. I'm talking about the guy who's dancing with that girl over there. Now, what is the relative clause?
Who is
Subject.
dancing with that girl over there.
Yeah, great. And is that subject or object?
Subject.
Subject.
Excellent. Down here. Oh, Peter. Yeah, he's my new coworker that I was telling you about. What is the relative clause?
That I was telling you about.
Great. And is that object or subject?
Object.
Very great, Giga. That was excellent.
Oh, Peter.
Let's continue.
Yeah, he's my new coworker that I was telling you about.
Oh, okay. He's the guy that you share an office with, right?
Yeah, that's.
All right, so here's the guy you share an office with. Right. Where is the relative clause?
That you share an office with, right?
Great, very good. And is that object or subject?
Object.
Great, object. Now the other one says, yeah, that's him. So Peter. And so Peter, who loves to dance, obviously, is dating the girl in the green sweater. Now, where is the relative clause? Yeah? Where is the relative clause right here?
Dance.
Can you repeat again? I can't hear you.
Who loves to dance?
All right, who loves to dance, obviously. Yeah, that's a relative pronoun. And is that object or subject?
Subject.
Yeah, it's a subject one, good. And guys, is there any other thing that you can say from this sentence right here? Or no? Or we can move on. Can we move on? Well, honestly, in this sentence, there is something extra. Yeah, that is a relative clause, is a subject clause, but there is something extra right here. And this is basically what we are going to be speaking about, right? So don't worry, don't worry. I'm going to explain to you in a
Tim.
minute. if you don't know.
And so Peter, who loves to dance, obviously, is dating the girl in the green sweater.
Ah, okay. Who's that other girl?
You mean the girl who Peter's dancing with? That's my cousin Ashley.
All right, here, you mean the girl who Peter is dancing with? Where is the relative clause, guys?
Who Peter is dancing with.
Great. And is that object or subject?
Object.
Subject?
Object.
Object. All right. Let's continue.
No, not her. I met Ashley at your brother's wedding last year, remember? No, I'm talking about the girl who was standing alone by the window.
Oh, her.
Or we got here. No, I'm talking about the girl who's standing alone by the window. So where is the relative clause?
Who is standing alone by the window.
Great, right, great. And is that object or subject?
Subject.
Great.
Oh.
Now, the next
Oh.
one, no, is subject.
Okay.
The
Yo
next
dije
one,
mister.
yeah, you said subject. That's Ken. She's Ashley's friend that's studying abroad right now. Where is the subject? I'm sorry, not the subject. Where is the, forgot it. The relative clause. I get this right for a second.
There is studying abroad right now.
All right, and is that subject or object?
Subject.
All right, great, guys. So, as you can see, there were some things that you were using with, I mean, you already know how to identify a relative clause, right? Now, something else that you need to know is that the relative clause give more information about the words that they follow, right? And they begin with the relative clause, who, that, and which. I mean, you already know this, right? You already know this. Now, what is new is that relative clause give more information about the words that they follow, right? Now, here is when we can say, or I can say that we have two types of relative clauses. The first type is called defining relative clauses, and the second one is called non-defining relative clauses, right? So this is what we're going to talk about today and what we are going to explain. So take a look at the girl. She has a question and she says, oh, so which guy is Peter? And the man responds, Peter is the guy who's dancing. Peter is the guy who's dancing. If I ask you guys, what is the relative clause? What can you say?
Who is dancing?
All right, that's a relative clause. Now, what type is it? Is it subject or object?
Subject.
Subject. And now, what do you think it would happen, guys, if I eliminate this part right here? What would happen if I eliminate this part and I say, Peter is the guy? What happens?
The guy of what?
All right, which guy, right? What guy? I mean, if you're speaking about this party, then we might be talking about 1, 2, 3 different guys, different from Mike, right? So which one is Peter? This one, or this one? If we didn't have this information right here, as it says, the relative clause gives more information about the words they follow. In this case, they give more information about the subject, right? So if we eliminate this part, we won't know who the guy is or who Peter is. Why? Because this is essential information so that I can know who the guy is, right? Essential information. So in other words, I can say that this sentence right here, Peter is the guy, is incomplete, right? Because I am like, all right, which guy? What guy? So I can know which guy or what guy you are talking about. You need to give me extra info. You need to give me more information about that person, right? In this case, Peter is the guy who is dancing.
Dancing.
Now I am being specific and I know who Peter is because this is a defining clause. Let's practice more. Let's practice more. Let me see. We have another. Where is it? Please let me know if you can see the PowerPoint presentation. Which one are you? I mean, can you see?
Yes.
Does it say relative clauses and relative pronouns?
Yes.
Great. Now let's move on. Let's go back to the relative pronouns, right? We're going to continue working about the clauses and the pronouns, but let's speak about the pronouns for some more time, especially because now we have a new one that is whom. So let's see when to use it and how to use it, right? So take a look at this sentence right here. Do you know the man who lives next door? Now, where or what is the relative clause?
Who live next door?
Great. And is this subject or object?
Subject.
Subject. And now, is this a defining clause or a non-defining clause?
Define clause.
A defining clause, right? Because it's giving information about the man. If you delete this part right here, would I know who the man, who I'm talking about? Like if I do this and this, do I know the man? Do you know the man? What man, right? You don't know the man. So here is essential information. Great, defining. Well, that's good. So this is subject, as you were saying. Now we have this example right here. The woman who I was playing tennis with was my sister. Now, where or what is the relative clause?
Who I was playing tennis with.
Great, who I was playing tennis with. That is the relative clause. Good. Now, what type of pronoun is this? Is that subject or an object relative pronoun?
Object.
Is object. Very good. And now, is this a defining or a non-defining relative clause?
Defining.
A defining, right? Why? Because it's giving me extra information about who was my sister. Who was my sister? The woman I was playing tennis with, right? Good, good. Now, here is an object, as we were saying, very good. And now we have the following. Hey, who? How do we use whom? Well, we usually use whom. I know that I just explained that the preposition goes with the verb, right? Which is the verb here? Play. And which is the preposition that goes together? With, right?
With.
There is a very similar Spanish version in which we take the preposition, we separate the preposition from the verb and we take it before the relative pronoun, like in Spanish. Yeah, there is a way we can use this in English. But something that I want you to take into account is that we can only use this version with 3 relative pronouns only, not to all of them, only with 3. They are who, which, and what, all right? Who, which, and what. You cannot use them with the rest. Only with who, with which, and with that. Let me show you like how it is. Take a look at the sentence. The woman with whom I was playing tennis was my sister. Can you see the difference? Can you guys see the difference? The difference that you have from this sentence and this sentence. The woman who I was playing tennis with was my sister, and the woman with whom I was playing tennis with was my sister.
Preposition.
The preposition, right? Again,
Yes.
the preposition should go here. I'm sorry, here with a verb, right? But in this version, this is a very different version. I repeat again, you can only use it with who, with what, and with which. When you have this version here with the preposition just before whom, like in Spanish, if you translate it into Spanish, this is literally the same that in Spanish. La mujer con quien yo estaba jugando tenis, era mi hermana. Literally the same than in Spanish, right? When we use this version, right, that we have a preposition before who is always going to have a transformation. I mean, we are not going to say the woman with who. No, you cannot use this version. If you have the preposition before who, you have to transform who by whom. That's the rule, all right? So the woman with whom and not with who. The woman with whom I was playing tennis with, well, I'm sorry, with whom I was playing tennis with my sister. I am so used to using the normal version that I don't like this one. So when do I have to use this version with the preposition and the verb? And when do I have to use this version with the preposition alongside the relative pronoun? Guys, you can use it whenever you like, but I recommend you to use this version better. Why? Because it's the most common version, is the version that people use all the time. This version, you can also see that people use it, but honestly it's not very common, because this version is a very polite version. It's very, very, very polite. It's very, very formal. So this is not very common because of the formality that I am talking about. So the normal way would be this way right here. And the very formal way is this version right here. So people use more this version here than this version here, all right? You can use the one you like, the one you prefer, but depending on which one you use, you may be very formal or not. So here we have another way of using who. Take a look. The boy whom we met was very nice. Here I don't have any kind of preposition before the relative pronoun who. I am just using whom. Yes, you can also use this. You can use whom instead of who if you want. But again, this version, guys, is not very common. To be honest, is very, very uncommon. It's a very, very uncommon version. So the normal version is just using who instead of whom, because whom is most likely used or more commonly used when we have the preposition before who. Is this clear? Was this clear, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
All right, let's move on then. Now we have the word whose. Remember that I said whose was, we used it to speak about possession, right? And the meaning in Spanish is something similar to cuyo, cuya, cuyos, or cuyas. These are words. Hang on, give me a second. What's going on? Hang on. All right, sorry about that, guys. All right, we can move on. We can continue. So as I said before, whose, right? We use it to talk about possession, and they are the words in Spanish. They are cuyo, cuya, cuyos, or cuyas. Now these Spanish words we don't use them very often, honestly, right? ¿Ustedes usan usualmente las palabras cuyo, cuya en español?
Más o menos, sí.
Bien, rara vez lo usamos. De hecho, es bastante extraño. Para esa clase de oraciones usamos otras construcciones. So take a look at the example that we have here. Do you know the boy whose dad is a pilot? ¿Conocen al chico cuyo padre es piloto? Right? Take a look. We use it for possession. We got more examples here. It's like another way of saying this, like the boy's dad is a pilot. Or another example, the car whose driver died in the crash. El carro cuyo conductor murió en el choque. I mean, this is a very, very formal way of using this, right? So you can say, the car's driver died in the crash, right? We can use this by using a different way, like a different construction. Now, let's continue. All right, guys, so let's move on here. We have which and that, right? Now, which and that, we use them to speak about, objects in general or things, right? So take a look. Do you hear the cat which was screaming all night? Now, which is referring to the cat, of course, right? Now, where or what is the relative clause?
Which was screaming all night.
All right, that's a relative clause, guys. Good. Now, what type is this? Is this object or subject?
Subject.
Right, this is subject. And is this defining or non-defining?
Defining.
This is defining, since if we eliminate this part right here, we will know what cat you are talking about. Now, let's move on. In this case, we can interchange or we can exchange which by that. And the only thing that changes is going to be the formality. If I say, do you hear the cat which was screaming all night? I mean, this is formal. And if you want to say, like, do you hear the cat that was screaming all night? I mean, it's the same, but it's just less formal. Now, the car which I was driving last night was my dad's. This is the object version, right? But is this a defining or a non-defining clause, guys? What do you think? Defining or non-defining?
Defining.
All right, this is defining, right? Because, of course, you are telling me what is the car or which is the car I was driving last night. In this case, my father's. Good, good. You can always use that too. Now, take a look at this example right here, which you fall past the test, which is not surprised. Which sometimes in this kind of sentences can refer not only to one thing itself, to the test, it can refer to the whole sentence, right? But here, which is not surprise, is the relative clause. But what type of relative clause is this one? Is this defining or non-defining? What
Non-defining.
type is non-defining, right? Because we have here the commas, guys. Good. All right, good. So let me show you here another way, right? Another example. The car that I drive is old. Is this, what is the relative clause?
That I drive is old.
Drive.
Right.
That I drive is old. All right, good. That's the relative clause. Now, is this clause defining or non-defining?
Defining.
Great. And is this subject or object?
Object.
Great, right? So guys, we are so perfect. That's great. Now, how about the second one? The dog that bit me was huge. What is the relative clause?
That bit me was huge.
All right. Is it subject or object?
Subject.
Subject. Good. And is this defining or non-defining?
Defining.
Defining.
Yes, defining. Very good. How about the last one? The man that called me was my best friend. Which one is the relative clause?
That call
Call
me.
me.
All right, great. And is this object or subject?
Subject.
Subject.
Subject. And is this defining or non-defining?
Defining.
Defining.
You see, guys, you
Undefined.
can now you can easily recognize it very easily, right? So this is it. We got defining and undefining clauses. This is a defining clause. Why? Because if I eliminate who wants this race, I don't know, right? So this is a defining one, and this is a non-defining one because it's divided in, by commas, right? So take a look at these examples right here. The defining ones, they don't have commas, and the non-defining ones, they have commas. Here, the defining, again, like to repeat this, we use it for essential information, and here just for extra, not necessary, not important information. Now, these are non-defining examples, like Jim is very nice. The information in between is not necessary, right? Jim, who or whom we met yesterday, is very nice. This here is non-defining because of the commas. Again, London, which is the capital of England, is a large city. Again, this is just extra information about London. And again, we cannot use that because this is a non-defined relative clause. And finally, she couldn't read, which surprised me. She couldn't read, which surprised me. This is again a non-defining clause since it's divided by commas. In the case of not of a defining clause, we have here examples. A seaman is somebody who works on a ship. Who works on a ship is the definition of this someone. Whom? The seaman, right? So here we're not using commas, we're not using any of that, guys. So I think this is 100% clear, isn't it?
Yes.
All right. So here we have content clauses. This is the final thing. Now, what are content clauses? Content clauses are defining clauses. But the difference is that, take a look, this is a defining clause. When we use content clause, we just, what I told you before, we omit the relative pronoun, right? So for example, the town that we live in is more than 600 years old. And the town we live in is more than 600 years old. One more time, is the same, but I am just omitting this. This is more natural. Let me give you another example. This is the bike I bought yesterday. What is missing here? That or which, right? Right here. This is the bike that or which I bought yesterday. Good. But this is the more natural way. How about here? The man you saw at the party was Giorgio Armani. Here, what is it missing? What do you think is missing in this sentence?
Who or that?
Who or that? Where exactly?
The man who you saw.
Exactly, right? So the man who, right here, who you saw or that you saw. So guys, these are content clauses. And to finish this for today, there's something that's like a recommendation for you, and is that commas matter, guys. Take a look at this example right here. German students who don't know English very well often spend their holidays in England. What does it tell you? Here, this is a normal this is a normal defining relative clause, right? A defining relative clause. And it says that los estudiantes alemanes, quienes no saben inglés, muy bien, normalmente o a menudo pasan sus vacaciones en Inglaterra. Solo los estudiantes que no saben inglés muy bien. Los estudiantes alemanes que no saben inglés muy bien. So here we are referring to a small group of people, right? And a specific group of German students. But what happens if I do the same thing, write the same thing, but now I just put commas there? German students who don't know English very well often spend their holidays in England. It changes. El significado o la intención cambia. Los estudiantes alemanes, quienes no saben inglés muy bien, normalmente pasan sus vacaciones en Inglaterra. Esto quiere decir que todos los estudiantes alemanes se van para Inglaterra de vacaciones, right? El simple hecho de haber usado la coma cambió completamente el sentido de la oración. So be careful with this, especially when you write in your quizzes, the essays, or anywhere else. Do you have any questions on this part here, like what I just explained? So, I mean, I just want you to be careful with the commas, especially when you write, guys. Because if you write a comma in the, you know, like in the wrong place, then the meaning of the sentence or the meaning of your intention might change a little bit, and then it might be might be incorrect, right? Because maybe you meant one thing, and then what you wrote was another thing, right? Now, guys, let's practice a little bit in this activity. Please put these two sentences together by using who or that, all right? So, number one, it says, Super Mario Galaxy 2 is a video game. It's fun for all ages. So how can you put it together?
Super Mario Galaxy 2 is a video game that is fun for all the ages.
Very good. I mean, very, very good, miss. Right? It was excellent. Super Mario 2, I mean, Galaxy 2 is a video game which or that is fun for all ages. Now, where is the relative clause?
Which or that is fun for all the ages.
Great. And is that object or subject?
Subject.
Okay. And is it defining or non-defining?
Defining.
Yes, very good. Number two, Jodie Foster is an actress. She began her career at age 3. All right, put it together.
Judy Foster is an actress who began her career at age 3.
Career. Good. Jodie Foster is an actress who or that began her career at age 3. Good. Now, let me ask you again. What is the relative clause?
Who or that began her career at age 3.
Miss, repeat after me. Career.
Career.
All right, that's different than career, right? Career. Okay, good. Is it object or subject?
Subject.
Subject. And is it defining or non-defining? What do you think? Defining or non-defining?
I think not defining.
Why not defining, miss?
Because you only say Jodie Foster is an actress.
All right, but what actress?
Who is Jodie Foster?
Again, I am giving information, relevant information about her background. Good. This information is defining Jodie Foster, right? Because maybe there is another Jodie Foster that is an actress, but the other one didn't begin her career at age 3, right? So this is defining the information. Means another way of seeing, of recognizing, or that this is a defining one is that you have no commas. Take a look. Remember that the non-defining ones always have commas, are divided by commas. This is not divided by commas, so it's a defining one. Now, number 3, Ben Affleck is an actor. He's also a director. Put it together.
Ben Affleck is an actor who is also a director.
All right, great. Who is also a director? Great. Now, hang on. So, where is the relative clause? I forget the word.
Who or that is also a director.
Good. Is also a director. Good. And how about, is it subject or object?
Object.
Subject.
Subject, because we have the
Yes.
verb after the personal pronoun. No, the relative pronoun. And is it defining or non-defining?
Defining.
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 Good.
Yes.
Number 4. The Lorax is a film. It was adapted from a children's book. Put it together.
The Lorax is a film which was adapted for a children's book.
Very good, right? That was good. The Lorax is a film which or that was adapted from a children's book. Great, miss. Now, where is the relative clause?
Which was adapted from a children's.
Great. And is that object or subject?
Object.
Why object? Take a look at what we have here. If it were object, after this, we had to use a subject, right? But here, after the relative pronoun, we have, a verb. So this is a subject one. And is this a defining or a non-defining clause?
Defining.
Defining. Good. 5. Take a look. Jaden Smith is an actor. He's also the son of Will Smith. Put it together.
Jaden Smith is an actor who is the son of Will Smith.
All right, good. Who is or that is the son of Will Smith. Great, great. Now, is this, where is the relative clause?
Who or that is the son Will Smith.
If the son, all right, I here, I drop off something, take a look. I didn't put off. The son of Will Smith. Sorry about it. Now, is this subject or object?
Subject.
All right, defining or non-defining?
Defining.
All right, it's defining. Good. Now, we have the last ones. There you go. Dan Brown writes books. They are hard to take in. Now, take in means understand. All right? Put it together, please.
Dan Brown writes books which are hard to take in.
All right, that's good. So Dan Brown's write books which or that are hard to take in. Good. Now, where is the relative clause, miss?
Which are hard to take in.
Great. And is it object or subject?
Subject.
Defining or non-defining?
Defining.
All right, great. Oh, 7. Wicked is a Broadway musical. It's been very successful. Put it together, please.
Wicked is a Broadway musical which is being very successful, or that is being very successful.
Very good, miss. Excellent. All right, that is being or that has been. Anyone, right? Very good. How about number 8? Beyonce is a singer. She's also acted in several films.
Beyonce is a singer who is also acted in several films.
All right, that is incorrect. Take a look at here. She's also acted. This is not the verb be.
She
This is
has us at in several films.
all right.
Sería Beyoncé is who have us at in several films.
All right, take a look, Miss. Who has, because it's the third person. Beyonce is the singer who has, or that has, acted in several films. All right, good. And number 9, Diana is a girl. I always speak with her. Put it together.
Diana is a girl who I always speak with her.
That is incorrect. What is happening there? Is it correct to say Diana is a girl who I always speak with her?
With.
So you have to drop her, right? Diana is the girl who I always speak with, or that I always speak with, or Diana is the girl with whom I always speak, right? Good, guys. And here, what is the relative clause? What is the relative clause here?
Who I always speak with.
All right. Is it subject or object?
Object.
Great. Defining or non-defining?
Defining.
Very good, guys. All right, guys, this is everything. Is it clear, the topic? Like, do you know now how to identify it 100% clear? So what do you think? Is it clear? Was it clear?
Yes.
All right, guys. So
Yes.
if it was clear, this is the end of today's class, right? So this is it. We have already finished. So guys, that is it.